But hello, you lovelies, and welcome to This Week in Comics. If you are new to this page, every week I read about 50 to 60 comics a week, and I break down the 9 I think you might enjoy most. Not only are they the comics that I enjoyed the most that week, but I try to make them the more approachable ones. That way you can get in a comic store and not feel intimidated by the vast number of comic books that come out every single week. I also preview that week's new comics. So today I'm going to be previewing the comics dropping today at your local comic shop, July 10th, if you're watching this on the day it airs. And then in the middle, I give you the biggest news in the world of comic and comic adaptations. This week in the news, we're going to be talking about the new Spider-Man Noir casting updates. Very exciting stuff over at Spider-Man Noir at Amazon. I'm pretty excited about it. We also got that brand new Agatha trailer. I'm going to break that down. We also get a new Captain America 4 trailer tomorrow. I'm going to talk about what that means for San Diego Comic-Con, but also I haven't seen it yet because I'm not in the future. And maybe the biggest news of all, we have an X-Men 97 Season 3 update, and it's surprising. So we're going to be talking about that once we get into it. Without further ado, this is This Week in Comics.
Let's do the list. Spider-Man.
Guilty.
The Incredible Hulk.
Afraid so.
Oh man, this is so cool. The X-Men.
Now that you mention it.
All right, before we get into the news, let's talk about my favorite comics from last week, the week of July 3rd. First up is Absolute Power #1. Now, Absolute Power #1 is the beginning of a giant event over at DC. It is from Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and it is stunning. The art from Mora is gorgeous. It is an Amanda Waller story. We have been leading to this for quite some time over at DC. It is basically powers being taken away from heroes and more power being given to Amanda Waller. Now, the power that Waller has here is government-based. The physical powers of heroes are gone, and how the heroes are dealing with that. She's been trying to take over and get rid of heroes for a long time. This is a really cool culmination of years of lore and especially months of recent lore at DC. Check out Absolute Power, really cool summer event over at DC. And it starts right here with #1, super approachable and a very good issue. Another incredibly approachable issue, and maybe my favorite comic of the week, is Batman #150. Now, I love Chip Zdarsky. He's one of my favorite writers working, but his Batman has been hit or miss for me. I've liked a lot of issues, some haven't worked. This is how I always pictured his Batman. Everything Zdarsky I've read outside of this current Batman run has been some of my greatest hits of each of their characters. He's written some of my favorite Spider-Man. He's written some of my favorite new indie comics. We're going to talk about Public Domain down the run, but I think this is what I always wanted out of Batman. This is such a beautiful story. The art by Jorge Jimenez is stunning, and it is a one-off story. It's by itself. It's isolated. You can pick up just this comic. You've never had to read a comic in your life, never had to touch a Batman comic in your life. It's a story of a guy who, because of events we did see earlier, but you don't have to know about them, it basically finds out who Batman is, and he's got the knowledge of who Batman is, and he tries to sell it. And you see all of the criminal underbelly in Gotham, all of the reasons people don't reveal Batman's identity, all of the politics and insanity, and it's a fun tour of Gotham. You meet a lot of characters. The villains are used in these great roles. It is such a I love Batman ground level issue, and Batman in it and Bruce Wayne in it are so perfectly characterized. This issue is astounding. Check out Batman 150. It is so good. Then we've got, for the first time in its run, Deadpool 4. So Deadpool is my guy. I love Deadpool, but I really love Joe Kelly Deadpool. I really love Gail Simone Deadpool. I really love Jerry Duggan and Brian Posehn Deadpool. I haven't really been feeling the Cody Ziegler Deadpool as much. This issue got me. It's got some fun referential stuff. It's got some fourth wall breaks that work. It's got a couple that don't. It's got some really good irreverence, but it's also really got a lot of the heart of Deadpool as a father. He's got a kid in the comics, and the way that kid came to be was in the Jerry Duggan run. Really like that, but I feel like everyone that's written him since hasn't really known what to do with Deadpool as a dad. This issue's quality Dadpool, and it's really good with Taskmaster. Their relationship is delightful. The action in this is great, but the heart is even greater, and I really dig the villain they're setting up here that's practically Keanu Reeves. It's a really fun time. If you want to see Ryan Reynolds v. Keanu Reeves, this is a really fun issue. Cody Ziegler is finding a voice that I really like in Deadpool with issue 4. Then we've got The Last Mermaid #5 from Derek Kirk Kim, and I have loved this from the jump. It's really impressive. The world building is great. The art is wonderful. It's a really captivating story. It's a really cool, different take on trapped in like a vehicle filled with water on a desert planet, like trapped in every sense of the word, and has a little fish creature swimming around with her as like a friend. And it's them looking for food and survival, and they run into these mutants in this issue, and you see the, I don't know, almost Mad Maxian world they're enveloped in. You've got a hero that's helping alongside this mermaid. It's really fun. Characters are captivating, but most of all, the art. Derek Kirk Kim This is stunning. I love the character design work. I love the use of color. I love how powerful the pages feel. It's a really fun book and a really approachable one because it's its own universe. It's its own canons. Only 5 issues so far and you get the whole story. Really digging this. Next up, we've got Local Man 11 from Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. Big fan of both these guys. Big fan of Local Man. Doesn't always make my top 9, but I always really enjoy the issue. This one had to make the top 9. This issue is astounding. It is a story of a 90s washed up hero in all senses of the word that goes back to his town because he legally can't use his superhero name. So he gets called Local Man, and he's a local guy that's a hero that has the power to never miss. And whether that's mentally, how to navigate people, whether that's, shooting, it's a really fun power in a day-to-day setting. So if you like slice of life movies and stories, and if you like superhero stuff, this is the culmination of that in a really fun way. And this issue is the beginning of accelerating into a new arc I don't want to give too much away from, but I really love the power use in this issue, and I really love how you feel like you know this guy. Only 11 issues in, and it's a very, very well fleshed out world and IP, and this character is amazing. Really dig Local Man 11. All right, we had Deadpool number 4 at the top. Now we've got Life of Wolverine number 1. We are 2 weeks out from Deadpool and Wolverine, and Marvel knows it, putting out really quality stuff from both of them. This Wolverine issue in particular is the first time ever in the history of Wolverine, in his 50 years, that Wolverine has ever had his entire life story told in chronological order. That is how they're pitching this book, and it's true. I remember, reading Wolverine Origin. I remember a lot of moments of this story, but this is a lot like Grand Design. Grand Design is a wonderful comic that tells all of the X-Men and all the Fantastic Four in this consolidated story, and they're doing that here, not obviously with the same style of art and writing, but this right here is a really wonderful retelling of huge impactful moments in Wolverine's life, like a greatest hits. It's like, now that's what I call Wolverine. So you got the origin into pre-X-Men days, into Alpha Flight, into early X-Men days, into big moments in the X-Men history. This is how you catch up on all your Wolverine and X-Men lore. So if you want to know about Wolverine and don't really have a grasp on his whole story, or if you're a casual Wolverine fan, hell, even if you're like a diehard Wolverine, it's a really fun way to read everything in one story, especially leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. It is the most self-contained Wolverine story I've ever read. So if you want to pick up a comic, you got Batman 150 for Bats, and you've also got this incredible Wolverine all-encompassing story with life story here. Next up, we've got Poison Ivy number 24 from G. Willow Wilson and Haining. Sometimes the wrap-up to a big event or the big moment in a character's arc feels very color by numbers, and sometimes that works. This walks the line to not quite being like, well, that's the way things have to go, but has just enough of that like fulfilling, I needed this respite. Sometimes I like the denouement, the closing wrap-up post-action closure better than the action in some comics, and this has been a great action-packed arc, but I really like the character of Poison Ivy. I really like her relationship with Harley Quinn. I really love the friend group she's somehow built with Killer Croc and Solomon Grundy and all these people. This is more of the, okay, let's catch our breath after the chaos. And I really enjoyed this issue because I really like these characters as characters. And sometimes those conversations are more exciting than the action for me. This issue really worked. Public Domain is back with issue number 6. I love this book. It is written and illustrated by Chip Zdarsky, one of my favorite writers out there, and a fun artist, man. His work with Sex Criminals was delightful. This is the culmination of a lot of his work. This is, Public Domain deals with a comic book family. Like in the story, this family wrote a comic book. Imagine your Stan Lee and your Steve Ditko. And in this world, that has been adapted into a movie and is now a worldwide phenomenon. And the other creator, other than this family, has made millions. This guy is living very poorly. He gets the rights to the character back, but only in the comics. So he can make comics again. And it's about his family making comics with him in this modern world of giant superhero IP and how comics don't make all the money you think they do. It's very obviously meta, but it's also very topical to the world. But it's also a really beautiful father-son's story and a really beautiful family story. It's got a lot of heart, and it's really just a very pleasant read about what it means to be a family member and means to be responsible with the backdrop that is sometimes foreground of comic books and comic book movies and adaptation. It's hitting all the right buttons. It won the Eisner last year for Best New Series. Highly recommend it. It's been off for like 5 or 6 months, been hiatus. It is back with issue 6. You can check out from 6. You can pick up this issue and get most of what's going on, I would pick up the first trade, which is available now, and then get 6, but this issue is so freaking good. I love this comic. And the final of the top 9 of the week is going to be Sam and Twitch Case Files number 4. This is from Todd McFarlane writing, not illustrating this Spawn tale, with Simon Kodronsky illustrating. This is the guy from Something Epic, another book I really enjoy. And this book's really dark, I'm not going to lie. It deals with violence, it deals with murder, it deals with like killers and depravity in a way that feels very tangible. Like sometimes you're watching a true crime thing or a movie and it feels too real and it's really uncomfortable. This comic accomplishes that, but in a way that's also in the world of Spawn. Now, this is about Sam and Twitch, not Spawn. It's about their relationship and how much Twitch is on it and Sam is off it. And basically Sam messing up affects Twitch and Twitch has to leave. He gets out of town. He's working in a small town in this smaller case. And I love that Twitch doubts himself while Sam is braggadocious. I love that you get to really work on the characterizations of these two outside of Spawn while dealing with this case. It's just a really good police detective procedural book that happens to have characters you know and love. I really am digging this run so far, even though it's really dark and upsetting to read at times. So those are going to be my top 9 for the week of July 3rd. Last week, a lot of good stuff. Those are my top 9. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of these, what you thought of these. Let me know if there's something I missed, if there was anything from last week you really enjoyed. Let's get into the news. This week in comic book news, we got a big update on one of my most anticipated shows in the world of comic books. That is Spider-Man Noir. Now, Spider-Man hasn't had a lot of TV as compared to movies, a lot of good animated stuff, but we're getting a live action Spider-Man Noir. And not only that, we're getting it starring Nicolas Cage. And now we found out this week that Lamorne Davis is joining as Robbie Robertson. I love Robbie Robertson. He is the number 2 to J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle. He's the father of Randy Robertson. He's a very important character in Spider-Man lore. This is very exciting news. And then we also got, and this is the big one for me because I am a huge fan, Brendan Gleeson is joining as a villain. We don't know who he's playing yet, but remember, live action, Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man Noir, Brendan Gleeson is the villain. This is huge. If you've never seen In Bruges, if you've never seen Paddington 2, I'm sure you know him from Harry Potter, but if you've never seen his vast array of work, Brendan Gleeson is one of those actors. Banshees of Inisherin, he's so good in Banshees of Inisherin. He's one of those actors that elevates everything he's in. This means the script is probably amazing. This means we're in for a very interesting villain. He'd be a good Doc Ock. He'd be an interesting bad guy in the world of like your hammerheads, your organized crime. I think Doc Ock personally would be really interesting for him, but this is really exciting. I can't wait to see this. He's also showing up in this year's Joker, the Joker 2. He's liking comic book stuff right now. Now, live action Nicolas Cage, Lamorne Davis, Brendan Gleeson in the cast, all that's already exciting, but a lot of people also don't realize this is produced by Lord and Miller. This is from the Spider-Verse team. Lord and Miller know Spider-Man. They breathe this stuff. This is the guys that did 21 Jump Street, Lego Movie. They are geniuses. This is so exciting. This is a series that I think more people need to be talking about. It's written by the team that did The Lost City, that Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum movie. So you've got Lord and Miller, you've got the Lost City team, you've got Nicolas Cage, Lamorne Davis, Brendan Gleeson. This show should be on the top of everyone's most anticipated list. I cannot wait to see this golden age Spider-Man crazy gumshoe take on this character. I cannot wait for this show. Speaking of the world of Marvel TV, this week we also got the Agatha trailer. Now, Agatha All Along had a fun run of like having a different name change every couple weeks and then reveal of it was Agatha All Along. I thought that was an obvious joke once they changed it a second time, but now that it's officially Agatha All Along, I expected this tone of trailer, and this is exactly what I want the show to be. Personally, I really enjoy what Kathryn Hahn did with Agatha in WandaVision. Personally, I like the idea of exploring this character more. I think witches and Disney all kind of tie together in a really fun way because of the hocus pocus flavor. I know there's a giant market for this. That's the business side. The business side is there's a giant contingent of Disney fans that want things that are this tone. On the Marvel side, the comic side, the nerd side, we've got Doctor Doom coming. I don't know how soon, but probably as soon as the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four. We've got Ironheart coming next year, which has the Red Hood in it. We've got mysticism and magic ramping up, leading to Secret Wars and Doctor Doom. This is a very smart way to, one, plant seeds to bring Wanda back, which they've already done in the trailer. Two, plant seeds of magic that make the Ironheart villain feel more like that world already is kind of established and makes sense. Hood is a magic wielder that also has guns. And three, when we get to Doctor Doom, he needs to feel organic. It needs to make sense that someone is Tony Stark and magic combined. We want this guy to feel like that is so much power and such a unique way. So magic has to be pretty well established. Now, I know we've already got Doctor Strange. I know we've already got Wanda to a point, but I feel like magic needs to be kind of second only to tech for Doctor Doom to work. This is also a really good opportunity to introduce characters like Mephisto, which is going to be a running joke, I'm sure, if he's not introduced here, because this is now coming out before Ironheart, even though that wasn't originally the plan. But it's also a good opportunity to introduce characters that can lead to Midnight Suns. So if you want your Blade, your Ghost Rider, your whole Midnight Suns occult world, I think that this is a really smart move. So I don't know, this trailer really got me. It looks like a full-on procedural horror tinge show. I'm so excited to see Aubrey Plaza in the MCU. She's already incredible in the Marvel TV series Legion, but I really am excited to see her in this world. I think her playing a witch is so inspired. I think her in this playfully cheeky world and her sense of comedy and her being a witch is exactly where she belongs in the MCU, and I just love Aubrey Plaza. So Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza, I'm already in. Growing out the world of magic and mysticism, Marvel totally makes sense. This trailer did seem to capture all that, and it doesn't look like it's just a WandaVision sequel. It doesn't look like it's just to get things by. It does seem like it's very intentionally toned and building in the MCU, so this trailer has me excited. I'm really curious to check this out. I also want to say we're going to get a Cap 4 trailer tomorrow. Captain America 4 drops in February. This is a little early for a trailer, not too early, but it's about 7 months away, so it's a little on the early side. That said, I'm more intrigued not by us getting a trailer for this, but us getting a trailer for this 2 weeks out from San Diego Comic-Con. So I had assumed, and I had my video last week, if you want to check it out, that we were going to get a lot of Marvel-centric stuff in Hall H, and they were going to save TV stuff for D23. Now, this would have been one of the big, I assumed, trailer reveals, even though it's still 7 months early, in Hall H, because they've shot the movie already twice. The movie is wrapped. They've got to edit it, but they've got some footage to show us. This intrigues me. Showing it this early and the Agatha trailer coming out ahead of D23, what is their Hall H going to be? Is it going to be an announcement of future stuff? Is it going to be, I think the Fantastic Four are inevitable. But with the Fantastic Four, you've got nothing shot yet. So what do you do except have those on stage? Like have those cast members maybe Doom announced? But like, what's your big move? Do you announce something with X-Men because it's Deadpool and Wolverine weekend? Do you have Deadpool and Wolverine come out? I doubt, because Ryan Reynolds' Wrexham team is playing in his hometown on Saturday. The Marvel panel is likely Saturday. What is Hall H going to be? I'd love to read in the comments below what you think Hall H is going to be. Do you think it's X-Men? Do you think it's just Fantastic Four? Do you think it's Deadpool and Wolverine related? What do you think they're going to announce now that we're getting a trailer 2 weeks out? This is crazy to me. Just the idea of releasing stuff this close to Comic-Con that is already early. Very intrigued. Let me know in the comments below what you think this means. And sticking with Marvel TV, but going over to Marvel Animation in TV, we've got our X-Men 97 writer locked for Season 3, and it is Matthew Chauncey. Now, X-Men 97 Season 1 is so close to perfect. I loved it. I did all sorts of reactions over at Real Rejects. I did all sorts of interviews over at Real Rejects. My friend Charlie Feldman is one of the lead writers on X-Men 97. I'm very concerned after Bo DeMayo's tenure ends with Season 2, what Season 3 is going to be now, and I hadn't been. I thought Season 1 and 2 with Bo DeMayo, I don't know why he and Marvel separated, but I trusted that Season 3, they'd probably promote one of their writers from within, and then Season 3 would feel like Season 1 since Season 1 was so well regarded. Bringing in a new writer that is on What If, which I like but don't love, it is nowhere near the caliber of X-Men 97. Doesn't mean that this writer isn't good. It does mean we don't have anything to feel like we've got a foundation of trust on. And then he's also got a credit as a script doctor on Thor Love and Thunder. That's the red flag for me. That's concerning. I think that script is pretty rough. And a doctor on that script should have done some more surgery. They needed the scalpel. I really do worry that X-Men 97 Season 1 and 2 are going to feel like this beautiful, cohesive thing, and then it veers off right as this X-Men Renaissance is ramping up. You've got these 2 seasons leading to the live action introduction of the X-Men. I think it's a beautiful plan. I think it's really smart the way they brought back the X-Men in animation with that very, very perfect show that uses nostalgia, but it doesn't make it too much of the lead character. It's a character, but it's not the lead character. Have that Saturday morning feeling, remind us about X-Men, have us talking about X-Men, and then the live action comes back. Then you sprinkle in Deadpool and Wolverine, bring back some of the live action characters. All of that is genius. I don't want that to fall apart when the X-Men live action are finally entering the MCU. All of that set up if season 3 is not as good. I'm concerned. I don't know this guy. I just know that What If is fine, and I know that Love and Thunder is not that great. I know that the team behind the first 2 seasons is some of the most devoted nerds I've ever spoken to. I don't know why they didn't promote from within. I'm a little worried about X-Men, and I hadn't been until this announcement. I'm sure this guy's perfectly nice, but I worry about them hiring loyalty to Marvel Animation versus loyalty to X-Men. And I know there's a ton of very talented writers, including Charlie, that would have been great for season 3. And again, I don't know what happened with Bo DeMeo. I don't really think it's fair to speak on him not working on the show until we know. But it is fair to be concerned about a writer that is tricky. Because there's other times writers are brought in, like there's been an announcement of writers where people are like, oh yeah, but they wrote blank, but then they've wrote like 10 other great things. Or writers that are unknown in that genre, and you're like, well, that's not, their wheelhouse, and then they do an amazing job because they were a fan and they just haven't gotten the opportunity yet. Those are different things. If someone hasn't written comic stuff, or if someone's written a mixed bag and then they prove themselves, those are different things. This is someone working on these characters that I personally don't see the reason behind, but I hope I'm proven wrong. At the end of the day, hope X-Men Season 3 is fantastic. At the end of the day, I hope that this is me looking at this 2 years later and going like, man, I was wrong. This Matthew Chauncey guy was the exact person for the job. We'll see. This doesn't fill me with the same gut faith as another writer might have. So that is it for the news this week. We got all sorts of casting greatness for Spider-Man Noir. A Lord and Miller Spider-Man live action on Amazon and MGM Plus has me excited. We got all sorts of movement on Agatha with that trailer dropping and a Cap 4 trailer dropping tomorrow. Tune in to Real Rejects. I'll be doing a live reaction bright and early in the morning. If you're watching this on Wednesday, I will see you in a few hours over on Real Rejects for Cap 4. And we got the head writer announcement for X-Men Season 3. That is going to do it for the news. Let's talk about the comics you can pick up in your comic shop today, this week in comics. All right, for the week of July 10th from Marvel Comics, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 53 wrapping up this long-running Zeb Wells run, some Spider-Goblin stuff as we head to the end of his tenure on Spidey. Annihilation 2099, that first issue surprised me. A really fun twist. If you like the 2099 world, you'll like this arc going on in this new series. Avengers number 16, been loving this Avengers run, highly recommend it. Daredevil 11, this has finally turned around for me. Didn't love the first arc. I'm enjoying the second much more, not too deep into this run. Get Fury number 3. If you like Garth Ennis, you will like this. His Punisher is iconic. This Fury run feels very much like his Punisher. If you like that jam, this will be yours. Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 5. The kind of end of Ghost Rider, it seems. There's always that like the end story. This feels like it's going to be where they go with Ghost Rider. Giant Size Silver Surfer number 1. A 50th anniversary of Silver Surfer single issue. Great jumping on point if you want to read about the Surfer. Hulk Blood Hunt. If you are reading this Blood Hunt event over at Marvel, this is your Hulk tie-in. I mean, it makes sense. It's a very bloody, intense character. Let's see how that goes. Kid Venom number 1. I know nothing about this. I know we're getting a giant Venom event this summer, so it makes sense it would tie in. Spider-Boy number 9. Spider-Boy's lost me a bit, but I'm going to keep trying. Dan Slott's character and creation. Let's see how he does this week. We've got Ahsoka number 1, a new Star Wars book. This is intriguing. I'm probably going to be checking this one out. I don't usually read Star Wars comics, but I'm going to check out this Ahsoka. We've got Symbiote Spider-Man 2099, the continued feud between brothers, and also the Venom and Carnage symbiotes over there. We've got the Ultimates number 2. I was really impressed with that first issue. Definitely a different take on the Avengers. Definitely a different take on the Ultimate Avengers. It's a whole new universe, and I really like the way these characters are playing. Reed as Doom is inspired. This new Iron Man is interesting. I'm really intrigued by this issue, too. That's probably my most excited book of the week, next to an X-Men book that's coming up. Union Jack the Ripper Blood Hunt number 3, another tie-in to the giant summer event with vampires over at Marvel. Wolverine Blood Hunt number 3, likewise, Wolverine's journey over there. My number 1 pull of the week right here, Ryan Stegman on art for X-Men number 1. Guys, I'm so excited. I love Stegman's line work. I think he's one of the most fantastic artists out there. Love to see him on an X-Men book. And then Jed MacKay, man. Since he got on Black Cat years ago, I have loved Jed MacKay's work. Jed MacKay and Stegman on X-Men, this is my pull of the week. X-Men number 1, From the Ashes, new jumping on point post Krakoa. Don't have to have read X-Men before, I assume. You can get on with this book. Really excited for X-Men to have a new launching point right here. And then finally, X-Men Heir of Apocalypse number 3. Over from DC, we've got Absolute Power Task Force 7 number 1. Don't know what that is, but it ties into Absolute Power, that big Amanda Waller summer event for DC. Marvel has Blood Hunt. DC has Absolute Power, so that's a tie-in there. Action Comics 1067. Post-Brainiac, House of Brainiac arc. Where does Superman go? Very intrigued by this. I love the iconic cover. That's a dope cover. The classic shield, and also like the imagery. This cover is gorgeous. Batman 89 Echoes number 3. The sequel to Batman 89. Now, there was a comic adaptation of what the third film in the Burton series would have been. This is the sequel to that, so we're getting what the Robin would have been, what Harley Quinn would have been. This is a really cool way to continue the Keaton lore and the Keaton mythology and basically canon of the Batman movies from that era. Batman and Robin number 11, a father-son story of Damian Wayne and Bruce Wayne continues, and I'm really, really digging this run. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age. Issue 1 made my top 9 of the week. Let's see if issue 2 does. Really like the Gaslamp stuff. Really like the Kryptonian introduction here. And this one's really interesting. Probably my DC pull of the week. We've got From the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives. Very long title, but what it is back in the day, Death in the Family, that beautiful cover from Mike Mignola, the one where Jim Starlin kills Robin based on a 1-900 number. This was the script Starlin wrote if they decided to keep Robin. We've never read this. This is literally the other side. Depending on the number of phone calls, it was Robin Lives or Robin Dies. This is Robin Lives from the DC Vault. Very excited. I also love that it's Leonardi, an artist I really dig from Spidey 29.9. So excited for this issue, top to bottom. We've got Green Lantern 13. We've got Looney Tunes 279. We've got The Outsiders 9, Primer Clashing Colors number 1, and Sinister Sun 6 to wrap out our DC. Over at Image Comics, we've got Ain't No Grave number 3, The Domain number 1. I do not know anything about this, except, as I always say, I'll always check out an Image number 1, except that it's Zdarsky. You guys know I love Chip Zdarsky. Very excited to check that out. Falling in Love on the Path to Hell number 2. Loved the first issue. I am very excited for the second. Geiger almost always makes my top 9. Geiger number 4 drops this week. Very excited to check it out. Ice Cream Man 40. Monolith 3. Moon Man number 3, a Kid Cudi comic. I'm excited to check out the third issue there. I like the first 2. Precious Metal number 2, Saint Mercy Godland number 4, Transformers number 10, and The Whisper Queen number 3. Over from Dark Horse, we've got Critical Role having 2 comics come out. They've got the Tales of Alexandria number 2, as well as Vox Machina Origins number 4. But the big book for me over from Dark Horse is going to be Dawn Runner number 4. This is Full Metal Alchemist meets Ghost in the Shell meets Gundam. This is such a cool existential kaiju and tech and mech book, and it's all I love this book. So I'm really excited for Dawn Runner this week. Then we've got From the World of Minor Threats, Barfly number 1. We've got Kill All Immortals number 1. Again, I'll check out any number 1 over from the indie publishers. We've got Monsters Are My Business and Business is Bloody number 4, and Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Phase 3 number 7. That is what we got from Dark Horse this week. In the world of IDW, the one I would recommend is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 40th Anniversary Comics, doing some reprints of some classics. And then from my precious Boom Studios, we've got Armory Wars Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, number 3. Crocodile Black, number 3. Love the first 2 issues of Crocodile Black. It's like this very dark, noir, bloody, true life crime book. And then Profane number 2. And that is going to do it for the big 5 publishers in the world of comics and the books I'm going to be checking out this week. Hope you enjoyed this episode of This Week in Comics. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're reading of these books dropping today. Let me know what you liked from last week's books that I talked about. Let me know if you're as excited for Spider-Man Noir as I am. I'm losing my mind with excitement over that show. The more I hear, the more I want it. Your homework from the week in the comments below, you lovelies. It is Comic-Con month. We're going to keep it to Comic-Con theme. Last week I asked about your favorite con memory. This week, I would like to know your favorite Comic-Con. Is it San Diego Comic-Con, the big one? Is it WonderCon, which feels like the cons of old? Is it New York Comic-Con, which is a very different tone altogether? Is it a small regional con? Is it Fan Expo? I love working with Fan Expo, and I love the energy they bring to those cons. Is it GalaxyCon, who I'm hoping to team up with soon? Is it one of these companies? Is it one I've never heard of? Let me know, and let me know why. What's your favorite con? And why. I'd love to find out more about cons that I don't go to. And if it's one of the big ones, let me know why. New York, San Diego, Wonder. Keep me posted in the comments below. That is going to do it, you lovelies. We'll see you next week for more This Week is Comics. Stay tuned this week for Ryan Reynolds movies to check out before Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as Wolverine comics to check out before Deadpool and Wolverine. It is Deadpool month here at my page, and those two videos, I'm hoping to get them out this week. It's been a fever of work and editing and Comic-Con prep. I can announce my con panels, I think tomorrow, but it has been a lot of prep. So we're getting a Ryan Reynolds movie and a Wolverine comics, hopefully within the next week on this page. So stay tuned, keep those notifications on, hit that subscribe, hit that like, leave a comment below. I'll see you soon. Bye.